Notice how this problem is the same. We're isolating the variable. We're going to solve for y. It's the same in that way as the previous examples, but notice how it's different. In the previous examples, the variable was tied to the constant, or the number, by addition or subtraction, and we used the opposite of these to isolate the variable, to get rid of the constant and leave the variable by itself. Here, the constant is married to the variable by multiplication. And we will use the opposite of multiplication to isolate this variable. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. We're going to divide using the form of a fraction. And we're always going to divide by the coefficient of the variable. The coefficient of the variable is the number part of this term. You're always going to divide by the coefficient of the variable on both sides of the equal sign. This way we keep the equation balanced by doing the same thing to both sides. Here, these factor away and leave us with just one y. That's why we did that, so that we could get y by itself. And over here, you know that any number over itself is equal to 1. Now you've solved for the variable. We've got y all by itself, and on the other side, the value that it's equal to. Now, in this example, all they've done is ramp it up with some negative signs, so that you do need to think about the rules for what happens when we divide by positive or negative numbers. We're still going to isolate the variable by dividing by the coefficient of that variable on both sides of the equal sign. Be sure that if it's a negative coefficient, you're dividing by a negative. Negative divided by negative gives you positive. Here, these factor away, leaving you with just w. And then this is similar, where you're just dividing by -5 on both sides, except this time you're not ending up with a nice tidy whole number, you're ending up with a fraction. In fractions, it doesn't matter where the negative sign is. It can be in the denominator like it is here, or I like to keep mine in the numerator, and so that's where I put it. And you many times see the negative out front of the fraction. All of these are negative fractions. They just have one negative sign. In this one, we're also going to be dividing by a negative constant on both sides of the equal sign. And then we're still going to end up, or we're again going to end up with a fraction. Doesn't matter where the negative sign is.